I just turned all my fingers into cats.
No, you're not! You're my son!
Dad, please!
I want you to imagine yourself as Gregory DeMayo universe here for a second. Stay with me now. I know your tan lines are jarring. I don't really know how you even got them. You never really even wear a shirt. Aside from Greg's ability to pull ethereal women, I don't really envy him. He's in this strange predicament where this otherworldly force is preventing him from having a child while at the same time letting whom he loves survive. Both simply cannot exist at the same time. And that very same force that took the love of your life away is constantly reappearing in your child as he deals with his own magical problems. Problems that you cannot relate to, yet you still choose to be a guiding light for this child. I believe Cat Fingers dips their little toes into this predicament, so let's get started. These early seasons hold a lot of strange magical powers going wrong hijinks, and I'm all here for it, honestly. It adds a sense of harshness to this otherwise pretty soft color palette. So we start out at the old car wash, where Greg and Steven are washing the mayor's election mobile. Eventually, turned Spudmobile.
If we do this right, we might get political favors.
I'm not sure what that is, but I like it.
But you will, Steven. 41 episodes later when you Kirk the do. So eventually Greg and Steven devolve into just spraying each other with water, which the mayor isn't a fan of. Come on guys, stop hinting at future events in the episode.
Universe!
That's the greatest foreshadowing I've ever seen. So while Greg is busy reconciling, with the mayor, I want to talk about Mayor Dewey's character just like as a whole. I feel like he's one of those towny side characters that are so one note, it adds dimension to them, and they always steal the scene whenever they're on screen.
As a politician, pointing fingers make me very nervous.
And I do enjoy the little growth they do with Dewey's character. His obliviousness is eventually confronted by the town, which ends up changing the dynamics of the entirety of Beach City. It adds a fragility to this world, like nothing's forever, even elections. And then holy shit, the mysterious cat way back from episode 2 of this series.
What is with this cat?
Got you guys!
Amethyst!
Pretty cool, Amethyst.
I wish I could shapeshift like you.
You could probably learn.
Really?
Sure, you got a gem.
Well, magic stuff. Should I get out of here? Is there gonna be an explosion?
At first, I think this take can be chalked up to, Greg's overall uncomfortableness with magic, but I think also taking a look at some future events in the series, this moment can be added or reframed in a way to where this can also be Greg being extra uncomfortable with Amethyst, since she really likes turning into this guy's loved ones, like she literally does it right here. And this eventually leads us into the catalyst of this episode, Steven wanting to learn how to shapeshift like Amethyst. And we can see how enamored Steven is by this power, which makes sense. I mean, it's basically like, Ben 10's power. Wait, Garnet, I forgot you meant Ben 10, actually. Holy crap, it's the purple puma.
Chill it, dude.
Holy crap, it's Mordecai.
Just because you can shapeshift doesn't mean you should.
So how Amethyst uses her shapeshift upsets Pearl. This, of course, has nothing to do with Amethyst, but rather herself, We see her deep regret and subtle battle against herself way back in episode 6, and I think that's really cool. It does all this while at the same time being a conflicting dynamic for these two characters.
Can you shapeshift?
Well, of course. Well, of course I can. I'm perfect. Womp womp.
But anyway, what the hell is this shape-shifting stuff anyway? Commencing Pearl hologram exposition.
We can turn into objects, we can change parts of our bodies, or we could do that.
Another detail I like about this comment, especially that another revelation is told later on in the show.
All gems have shapeshift powers, Steven.
Pearl is actually wrong here. Some gems can't shapeshift.
I'm an Era 2 Peridot. I'm new. Resources are dwindling on Homeworld. They can't make gems like they used to.
Pearl, of course, would not know this, though, because she's from an era where all gems probably could. But Steven's like, I don't care about your trauma, Mom. I want to turn into a huge lion.
Show me how to change into a huge lion!
This is, of course, beautiful foreshadowing for when Steven actually turns into a pink lion. That's how that story goes, I'm not lying. So Amethyst actually says no, yeah, Pearl's actually right in this situation. In order to shapeshift, you have to start with something easy. Also, what do you guys think Pearl was looking at, through this microscope? Leave your answers in the comments below. So then we get an Amethyst tutorial on how exactly she shapeshifts, but Steven can't seem to get the hang of it.
Just relax and feel it. Biorhythms, yo.
And as this Dutch angle settles in, it adds to your dread of realizing Amethyst knows a word that you don't know the definition of. Oh, okay, that actually makes sense. And wouldn't you know, after a few attempts, Steven actually ends up shapeshifting. Whoa. Or maybe even creating life a little bit. I feel like this is a weird mesh of his diamond powers, organic powers, and just gem powers, I guess. Steven doesn't have autonomy over these things necessarily. They almost act on their own will, almost similar to the Pebbles. At least I think the Pebbles were acting on their own will. I hope they liked making clothing. I hope they weren't forced to do that. But anyway, Steven thinks this is cool as hell. Who cares? Let's go show Greg, huh? Damn, I need to learn how to chill like this guy.
Hey, Stewball.
This is gonna sound like a pretty lukewarm take. Like, I love when characters within shows and movies give other characters nicknames. It's like,
Hey, Stewball.
whoa. That happens in real life too. I love when characters are realistic.
Check it out. I shapeshifted my finger into a cat.
Whoa! Is that a thing you can do now?
We get a little water hurts the cat's foreshadowing moment as Steven moves on to pester the rest of Beach City.
Here's a nickel and a buck.
That is not a buck, Steven. That is a cat. This is a buck. But let's slow down here because I think this is the first time we really get to see currency up close in the Steven universe. And we can see it's actually slightly different from the real American currency. There's like a little chopped up snake, which I think is just a reference to the join or die thing made by Ben Franklin. I think Ben Franklin made that. Also, he flew a kite. Grown-ass man flying a kite, man. The snake symbol could also be the Sneeple.
Snake people or Sneeple.
But also, much more interestingly, there's a diamond on the dollar. What could this diamond possibly mean?
Polymorphic sentient rocks!
Oh yeah, no wait, that makes sense. I love these little details where you just see something for a second and it makes you think about so much implications in this world. It's the world letting you expand its own universe just through your own head and imagination. I think that's so cool.
And he doesn't have any friends.
Oh my gosh, it's just like you, Steven.
So Steven feels sad that his cat doesn't have any friends and he spawns 4 more on his fingers, where he then goes about to the fry shop where we get an update on Petey's situation from last episode. Last time he was working in the Frybo costume that kind of went up in flames. I like this comment from last video too that said Petey's just getting worked like a dog on the fryers. That's why we never see him in the rest of the show. Until he acquired the Spudmobile, of course.
I can't look away.
Steven, that is freakish.
No, it's not. It's natural.
I don't even really want to think about if Steven is creating like internal organs for these cats or if he's like actually getting the nutrients from the fries through the cats. So instead, let's just call Ronaldo to the scene.
I gotta take a pic for Keep Beach City Weird.
What's that?
It's my blog.
So as many of you may actually know, this blog exists on Tumblr like IRL. But yeah, so inevitably Steven's cats don't really enjoy being fingers.
Steven! Need some help?
No, it's cool.
Oh, good. See you later then.
Another point for Steven being comedically left alone that later kind of turns into some trauma.
We're taking the gem sloop out to sea to fight a living island.
You're taking the what? Since when have y'all had that? And since when do you use it again? Why is its only other appearance in Single Pale Rose in a miniature version of itself? I know it's not the same one because that one was destroyed in this comic cover. See? There are comics?
I want to see a living island.
A living island, you say? I feel like this is either, you know, a corrupted gem island thingy, or maybe it was that corrupted invisible gem on Mask Island that later shows up in the series. The gems apparently never found it, so, you know, this gem sloop mission sadly goes wrong, I think.
Why were you even here?
We came here to look for a dangerous gem creature that we never found. I want to go on the gem sloop.
Yes, I know, Steven. We all want to go on the gem sloop, okay? And as Steven's trying to get into the iconic gem sloop, we get another foreshadowing moment that these kitties, they don't like water, okay?
We have to stay and help Steven.
We can't. This is a tectonic emergency.
Tectonic emergency, you say, Garnet. Could this be the early signs of the cluster?
Steven! Just try to stay calm!
Oh, wow, okay, so they really do just leave Steven, damn. At first, I thought a lot of these early episodes have almost been skewed by Future's storytelling, but it really seems like this negligence leading into chaos has always been intentional and very much meant to be traumatic.
No more cat fingers. I want Steven fingers. And I don't mean little me heads on fingers. I mean my regular fingers.
I love little lines of dialogue like this where the writing hones in on the viewer's ability to, like, you know, predict the next events of the episode. For a split second, you're like, okay, yeah, I see where this is going. Steven's gonna get little, you know, Stevens on his hand. And then Steven's like, no, I don't want that. And you're like, oh, okay. Cool. I wonder what it's gonna be then. And then it just throws you for a loop even more when a cat spawns on Steven's forehead.
Amethyst! Pearl! Garnet! Dad!
Finally, we're gonna get the title of this video. We cut to Greg as he's slowly closing up the car wash for the night, as he's just straight chilling again, man. I gotta be like him. But out of nowhere, Greg is forced to confront something that he's pretty much avoided the entirety of Steven's life.
Well, magic stuff.
As his son, completely unrecognizable, slowly approaches him. Greg starts to spray the thing with water out of fear, and this causes some of the cats to shrink. It actually allows Steven to get some words out, too.
Steven?
Yep, that's probably what I would say too. God, when that piano stumbles in, it just like, it feels like the tension is growing and just the stakes are just falling apart. It's like, it almost seems like things are too far gone at this point. Like, this isn't a fun power to have, especially for a young child. The pure terror and shock of these powers going wrong are in full display here. Which is cool, you know, you don't necessarily have to have an adult show it with gore and swearing to, you know, give off this sense of trauma in such a fantastical world. Greg immediately tries to tear off the cats, and holy shit, okay, I don't really know what move that is. Was that like a Jap wizard? I don't know, Steven kind of just like hulked his ass. And as we get this pure look of horror from Greg, we start to understand why he's so scared around this magic stuff and what it can do.
So, she saved the world, that's good!
No such thing as a good war, kiddo. Gems were destroyed. People too. In the end, your mother could only save a handful of her closest friends. If it weren't for her shield, man.
I mean, he's aware of the gem in human lives that were lost during the gem war. This very gem in his son's stomach is the reason Greg cannot have a wife and child at the same time. And here, yet again, a loved one is threatened to be taken away from this gem's power. So remember how we've seen a bunch of hints about how the cats hate water? Well, Steven has been paying attention this episode too.
And I'll never get to have another water fight with you, Dad, because these things hate water! They hate water!
So Greg starts immediately spraying Steven down with some just heartbreaking dialogue.
It's not enough water! Jump on the super wash!
No, I won't do it. It's too dangerous.
You've got to! I'm a monster! I'm an adorable cat monster!
No, you're not. You're my son.
Dad, please! Ah!
And we get this incredibly long take of this faceless cat-Steven hybrid stomping its way through. And this shot is so cool. It's definitely my favorite of the episodes, one of my favorite shots we've seen so far in this series. But in the end, it's not Garnet, Amethyst, or Pearl who saves Steven from this absolute horror. It's his human father, one who, even though is so uncomfortable, still was ultimately there for Steven. And I believe that's what this episode is ultimately saying about fatherhood, or just parenthood, I guess. You're stepping into the unknown, and the only thing you can do is be pure of heart and try your best. But in the end, he tries to support Steven, and I think that's all you can do as a parent. I think it's really rare to see such a deep dynamic between two characters with their own problems, but I still don't blame either of them. They just love each other, you know? So with the conflict being solved, the gems finally make their way back on the gem sloop. Thank God it survived this adventure. And the gems come to realize that Steven, together with his father, solved the conflict all on their own.
It just goes to show, always listen to me and never listen to Amethyst.
That's fair. It goes to show you should have a little more faith in Steven.
Exactly, guys. You should have a little more faith in him. But also, that was kind of scary, guys. Maybe we should address that. Maybe don't wait a couple years for when Steven has to tell it to a doctor. Okay, Steven, 20 more seconds in the episode. Give us as many cat puns as you can.
That would have been a total catastrophe! I'm feeling much better, meow! What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? I'm feline fine! Everything's perfect! Come on! I'm just kidding around!
7 jokes in 20 seconds. Okay, Steven, that was more than your pants joke sequence. This episode is just as I remembered in some parts. The tone is fantastical and low stakes, but then quickly devolves into an eerie, emotional chaos. But I truly don't remember picking up on the subtle themes of parenthood and trauma that sneaks in these 11 minutes. It's something I think now that I'm older, I can truly appreciate. It really makes me think about Greg's horror throughout this all, and how it's almost inevitable for any parent to grow up and hurt their own child. I think the only thing you can do is just try to be there for them. But yeah, this episode has the pinnacle of television, the gem sloop, as well. So, one of my favorites. Thank you guys for watching, and guys, 60,000 subscribers, thank you. We did it. We can now invade Terre Haute, Indiana. Be ready, guys. Thank you to my YouTube and Patreon members. They're gonna be on screen now. And just thank you guys for watching these videos. Seriously, it's been a lot of fun to make. I apologize for the inconsistencies. I've been pretty busy with school, and I've also just been pretty tired. Ready for summer to start, you know? The warmer weather's here, but I'm excited. All right, y'all, next episode we meet Connie, so be ready for that episode. Okay, bye.